If you have been paying attention, or maybe not, I don't know, then you've heard about a lot of the looting that recently took place in Philadelphia. Well, there was a social media influencer who goes by the name of Meatball who has been charged with 6 felonies based on her actions that night. She was actually live streaming. So I want to go through this and talk about a little bit about what happened and the charges that she is facing. I also want to talk about the age of some of the people who were out there. Some sources are saying some of the people who were out there engaging in this activity were as young as 14 years old, which is really, really bad because, when I start to talk about the fact that some of these charges that she's facing are felonies, there could be a lot of time involved here. So I want to break this down and go through this because a lot of times people think that it's not a big deal. So this is from the Philadelphia Inquirer. It says Philly social media influencer Meatball, that's the name she goes by, charged with 6 felonies after digital cat and mouse game with police during looting. Now, her actual name is Deja Blackwell. She's only 21 years old. I know some people will say, well, I have a daughter that's 21, and yeah, I would say she's only 21 years old. However, that does not mean that you aren't not responsible for your actions. She was live streaming while some of the looting was going on. But this article says police allege Deja Blackwell went to 7 locations where property destruction and burglary took place as part of looting across Philly Tuesday night that was partly organized on social media. And this is actually from the Philly Voice. It says a social media influencer known as Meatball was among 50 people who were arrested. So, in this widespread looting across Philadelphia Tuesday night, they released her name, faces 6 felony charges and 2 misdemeanors after she documented the chaos on her Instagram stories and TikTok account and cheered on looters as they ransacked stores in Center City. Now, I'm not going to play any of that. You can go to various news sources who will play that for you because I really want to talk more about the actual charges that she's facing and this possible time. This is a lot of time that she could be looking at. And in another video, I may actually also talk about her attorney, the attorney who is representing her, who is sort of downplaying her actions in this, whether or not she was in the plays, whether or not she was instigating, and just some other things that the attorney is talking about. I may jump into that. I may choose to skip that altogether. So this is her Instagram account. And part of what's going on here is this idea that there were a lot of followers. She has a lot of followers. And so when you have a lot of followers, we've seen this play out with other more well-known influencers who have promoted the purchase of certain products and haven't maybe divulged that a company was paying them to promote those products. So they got into some trouble with that. The idea is that you've got this following. Well, you owe a certain amount of transparency when you're talking to them, and you have to be mindful of the fact that something that you can say may push people to do something that they shouldn't be doing. Now, we could easily say, well, you're not responsible for what everybody else does. But if you're the one out saying, hey, let's come over here and let's take this down or let's do this, and it's criminal activity, well, you might be held accountable for your actions that resulted in getting all of those other people involved. So this is her Instagram account. And part of what they're saying is look at the number of followers that she has. And she has a TikTok too. I'm going to go to that in just a second. But she has since changed her profile picture so that this is actually her mug shot, and you can go online and take a look at that. There's been a lot of conversation about that too. She actually has tears in the picture. I can imagine this is very traumatic for someone who's 21 years old to think that they're out just doing the social media thing. And I'm going to talk about that too, just doing it for the gram, as they say. There's a lot of that that's going on. And when you're young and you grew up with social media, you sort of buy into this is the life. And so, yes, she has said that she regrets doing this. But as you can see, she has over 200,000 followers. She's only following 40 people, and she has about 316 posts here. Then on her TikTok here, you can see she has almost 500,000 followers. That's a lot of people. Now, granted, we know that all of these people don't necessarily live in Philly, but still, you can imagine that a lot of people still follow her, and those that don't follow her in Philly may have friends who follow her. I grew up in a particular hometown, and there is a particular person, I'm not going to name him, who is well known on YouTube. And there was actually an incident in my hometown where people thought this person was showing up. And they went to this one commercial place and they ransacked the place, tore it up on the thinking that he was going to be there. And there was never really any indication by him that he was going to be there. It was just some sort of rumor that got started. But thankfully, the next day, the community sort of came together to help clean the store back up. But this is a bit different from that because he didn't have anything to do with that. Whereas in this case, she actually was allegedly live streaming and asking people to come and engage, tell people there were free iPhones and those sorts of things. So this is her TikTok. Like I said, almost 500,000 followers, 468,000, which is a lot. And so you command a lot of influence when you have those number of people who are looking at you, following you, and maybe listening to what you say. So now she also has her products that she's been selling. So she's got a store too, and I just wanted to share that, give you a little bit more background. All right, so let's go into a couple of pieces that I took from an article, and then I want to talk about these charges. This first piece was from Black Enterprise, and this is the part where they were saying almost 50 adults and 3 juveniles were taken into custody following for the looting. Most people involved in the looting were young, including 2 14-year-olds. That's really young when you think about it. 14 years old. All right, so let's see the charges that they're talking about here: burglary, conspiracy, criminal trespass, riot, criminal mischief, criminal use of communication facility, receipt of stolen property, and disorderly conduct. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these, but I did pick a few of these just so we could talk about them and see what it says and how much time we're sort of talking about here. And so I just went to some, I'm not licensed in Pennsylvania. I'm not going to try to tell you about Pennsylvania law. So we're going to go to some firms who actually practice in Philadelphia or Pennsylvania. And I've got the credits down there so you can go to their site and check them out if you feel like you need more information about this. Burglary. So how serious is a burglary in Pennsylvania? Well, I can tell you it's very serious in just about any state, not just Pennsylvania. And you can see down here how much time you're talking about. It says burglary can be graded as either a first degree felony, punishable by up to 20 years in prison and a $25,000 fine, or a second degree felony, punishable by up to 10 years in prison and a $25,000 fine. Now, you're going to get the higher end of this sentence if this is a burglary that took place in a home and there were people there. Okay, so that's going to be the top end, and then you're going to come down from that. But, the maximum you see here for this first degree is 20 years. 20 years. Just keep that in mind, 20 years. And then for second degree, 10 years. So 10 years there. And then they talk a little bit about Pennsylvania's 3 strikes law there. All right. I also want to go over this criminal trespass here. It says, and we've got a little bit of information here. So it can be a third or second degree felony, depending on the circumstances. Third degree felony charges are punishable by 7 years of jail time and fines of up to 15,000. Second degree felony charges are punishable by up to 10 years in jail. So, remember that one of the sources that I included earlier said she went to multiple locations. So think about that. Are they charging her separately for each of these incidents? I don't know what's going on here. I haven't seen the charging document, but this could be a significant amount of time here because now you're saying, hey, wait, it might be 10 years or 20 years on the burglary. It might be 7 to 10 years here on the trespass. And then for a defiant trespasser, they've got some more information here. Now, for simple trespassers, for those who, you know, I don't know whether this would classify as simple. I somehow doubt it, but you never know. The offense will be a summary offense, which can include 90 days of jail time and fines up to $300. I don't know. The judge could be lenient on her, maybe they're able to work some sort of deal out. I don't know. Let's go to a third one. Let's take a look at this one. Elements and penalties for criminal use of a communication facility offense. The crime of criminal use of a communication facility is a third-degree felony, punishable by a maximum of up to 7 years. So that would be the maximum. So hearing these maximums, you're talking 20 years, 10 years, 7 years. And so far, I have only gone over 3 of the charges here. And remember, I think they said there are a total of 8 or something like that. All right, so in order to find you guilty, the Commonwealth must prove the following elements beyond a reasonable doubt: that you intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly used a communication facility, which is a device used to transmit signs, signals, etc. So they're talking about her live streaming here. This is what they're talking about, that she used her phone to aid in criminal offenses that took place. And then it says, you intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly use the communication device to bring about commission of a felony crime. And so that's the whole, I got my phone, I'm going to put this stuff up here, I'm live streaming, and I'm using my phone so that other people come out and commit crimes. And then it says the felony crime did, in fact, occur. And so again, like I said, you're talking 7 years for that, and that would be the maximum. And then of course you can start to add up the numbers too. But let's go back to this really old Vice article. Let me see if I have these. I guess I didn't do yeah, I guess this is it. This is about 5 years old. Do I have it up there? Yeah, 2018. 2018. Experts explain why doing it for the gram makes us do dumb things. This is as everything becomes a reality TV show, a reality show. We forget that reality shows are actually staged, and we think that daily life is a reality show when it's not. Well, our daily lives are a reality show. It's our reality show, and we have control over what that reality can look like most of the times. And it's up to us to frame that and to make decisions. The deluge. This is more from the article. The deluge is a tragic mix of poor judgment, risky behavior, and terrible luck. And so I didn't include this first part of this article in here, where they were talking about the number of times you have heard about people getting hurt because they were doing things for the gram. They put themselves in a predicament that was not safe. And as a result, there was an unfortunate outcome with that. And that is what this is talking about here. It says the deluge is a tragic mix of poor judgment, risky behavior, and terrible luck. Sometimes it is just terrible luck. But the thing they all have in common is that these people weren't doing it for the gram. It begs the question, are we becoming so thirsty for content that we're willing to ignore our better judgment just to get likes? Well, here's the thing. For some people, it's not just to get likes. It is a moneymaker for them. It is a way for them to be able to pay the bills. And unfortunately, this is a result of them maybe not feeling like they have other alternatives that they can go to make money, or to make money sooner, or to make the kind of money they need to make. Maybe they haven't had the opportunity to invest in their education. I don't know. But I don't think it's just for likes. I do think that there's possibly a money component here. I do think that there is possibly a psychology behind this is driving this too. And it's not just how many likes, it's not just the vanity of it, but sometimes when we're missing other things in our life, we seek validation because we have low self-esteem about ourselves. So it's not just likes and vanity numbers. Sometimes it's more than that. And I do think money has a lot to do with it too. Can we ever put the genie back in the bottle? Yeah, I don't know that the genie is going to go back in the bottle on this. I don't see that happening. But in any case, I hope this kind of brings you up to speed on what kind of charges she's facing, and then also some of the charges that some of these young people may be facing too. And like I said before, this is really tragic because they're just starting their lives, and you hate to see them get into this kind of trouble so early on. So if that brought you up to speed with some of what was going on with this, don't forget to like the video, share, subscribe, and peace. Mwah.